Tony's here.
Smells amazing here.
Everybody sit.
How you been, Effie?
Go to work, I come home. My life is simple, buddy. Unlike yours.
After the weekend I just had, I'm good with simple.
We have a situation.
You're gonna have to
Come work for us.
The LA Riot are having open tryouts.
Try out for a professional soccer team. I'm gonna need a sample of whatever you two are smoking.
The gig is just a cover.
Are you in?
I've got another situation.
You're not there to babysit, Bravo. Finish the job. Bravo.
Hi, this is Melissa Castellanos. I'm with Latin Post, and I'm here with writer, producer, and science fiction guru, Roberto Orci. It's a very exciting time for him right now. He's teamed up with El Rey Network to feature Matador. Could you tell me a little bit about your upcoming project?
First of all, hi, Melissa. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
It was great to team up with El Rey. The project that I pitched to them that Robert Rodriguez and the network surprisingly said they were very excited about is Matador. And Matador is about a soccer player by day and a spy by night. The idea was that, you know, you've seen the James Bond of England. James Bond is in London, and then there's sort of the Batman of New York, which is Bruce Wayne. And I thought Los Angeles needs its own international man of mystery, and so that's where the idea of Matador came from, the idea of the soccer player who is a spy by night.
And I have to ask you, in terms of Matador, the Latino hero, kind of, incorporating that role of the Latino hero. You've worked on Transformers, Star Trek, Spider-Man with this ongoing theme of this heroic role. If you were to choose which hero you would be out of all your films, which hero would you be?
Well, I've always identified with Spock, and Spock from Star Trek, and partly because I'm a sci-fi fan, but partly also because he represents a little bit of my experience. He's a legal alien who came from another planet and teamed up with an American, the way that I've teamed up with my friend Alex Kurtzman, who he and I have been partners for 24 years, writing together and creating shows together, and he wrote Star Trek with me. So the idea of being sort of an immigrant to the planet the way that Spock is one of the heroes that I related to. But I'm hoping that with Matador, the idea of Tony Matador Bravo might be a kind of a new hero that I would want to be.
And you've also worked with Harrison Ford, who is the quintessential hero, American hero. How would you define an American hero, and how do you hope to redefine it?
In my mind, an American hero is a hero who fights for everyone, not just America, number one. And redefining it, I don't know if I'm out to redefine it. I think I'm out to make it more definitive in terms of an American hero can be any one of us. And that's what's great about this country. It can be a Harrison Ford, or it can be a guy from Mexico, or a guy from Cuba, or a guy from Venezuela, or a guy from Colombia. It doesn't matter. That's what's great about America, that any one of us can be a hero. And that would be my hope with this show, is that he's a hero because he becomes this soccer athlete. He becomes this star. And he could be from anywhere. In our case, he happens to be a countryman of mine. He happens to be a Mexican via Texas.
Speaking of Latinos, tell me about your family and your heritage, since we're Latin Post. That's very important to us. And how do you, what inspired you to become a filmmaker?
Well, I was born in Mexico City, and my father is Mexican from a Spanish mother and an Italian father, and my mother is Cuban, so I'm a mix of whatever you want to call all of that. And my parents were instrumental in being part of the advertising world in this country that identified the Latino market as being very significant, as having great purchasing power. So a lot of times I'm asked, well, are you in this business to help your people, they say. And I say, well, on the one hand, I do care about where I'm from, and I do care about the market, but also, I'd like to tell the studios, you're missing out on a big market. You're missing out on making money from a very viable, vibrant market of upwardly mobile Latinos in this country. And so sometimes they're surprised to hear that that's the case. And so my parents, who were in advertising and did 30-second ads, they did ads for Pepsi and Disneyland and Honda and all that. In a way, that was kind of the first kind of storytelling that I learned. I learned sort of how a 30-second spot could be a little story. And so in a way, advertising is show business. And when I moved here to Los Angeles when I was 17, I looked around and I thought, oh, Hollywood is in Los Angeles. And a mix of my parents and what they were doing in media, and then just being a fan of movies. My mother used to take me to movies in Mexico City, and I learned a lot of English watching television and watching movies in English. It just became kind of a natural fit for me when I moved to Los Angeles.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. What a
Thank
pleasure.
you.